Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. This week, we're back talking about Tress of the Emerald Sea, chapters 37 through 43, wherein Tress becomes really scholarly for a hot minute. Laggert decides Tress should learn to fire cannons. Terrifying. Tress gets to know Anne, and they fire cannons together. Even more terrifying, if that's possible. The crew enters the Crimson Sea, and Tress teaches Fort how to cook on a budget. Tress engineers a sweet flare gun trap thing. Hoyd acts weird again, and Tress finds the location of the sorceress. And the rain almost kills everybody. So, lots of exciting adventure this week. With me this week is...
Dak?
And Data.
No Jaymee this week, unfortunately. We couldn't all get together again. Sorry about last week with our technical difficulties. But we're back. Hold on to something, everyone. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
The Dune, terror of the West. Sail the coast of Ireland with O'Malley on her crest. Sailors on the blue, shaking in their cots, feeling the foreboding of the terror that she wrought. Up the hull and away we go, stuck the galley and board. Whack the devil again to blow, we better remember the hold. Dance along on the waterline, speed us over the waves. Back to back on the borderlines, to never shut out of the aim. Run your way.
Hoyd acts weird again. Could be every week, probably.
That just sums up the Cosmere.
There was like some extra. I feel like there was extra weirdness this week.
So yeah, 7 chapters again, and some interesting. I mean, as Joe mentioned, there's some scholarly stuff. We're getting kind of a peek into how stuff works as Tress figures it out herself, which I find interesting. Jamie's not here this week, but I feel like she likes that sort of bits of it too. But what did you guys think of these 7 chapters?
These were fun. I'll admit that reading the book, like the hardback, as I am, this is a bit of an odd week wherein all the events of the chapters kind of got overshadowed by this fucking beautiful artwork as they cross from the Emerald to the Crimson Sea, and then the chapter headings went from green to red, and now the chapter numbers, the circle around them, they're growing spikes instead of vines. I'm like, fucking hell, the artistic choices in the book are overshadowing the events of it. It was just really cool. I'm loving the way that these books are made. Now I want to see the rest of the Secret Project and see what fun artistic swings they take.
There are definitely some in those, I will say.
Okay, cool. But yeah, no, just fun chapters. I feel like this is the most we've seen of Laggert in ever, and he's just kind of like so. All right, there's the guns, there's the shit. You figure it out. Like, aren't you going to show me? He's like, no. Why would I do that? It was just very, very amusing how it's like, oh, she's getting so close to these people. You know, we don't like Captain Crow is dangerous, but she's like enjoying the rest of the crew. Oh, and then there's this asshole. So that was fun. That was cool. The moment where Tress realizes that, oh, I've been having like the dregs of breakfast, and Fort's like, no, that's what everyone gets, and she's like, oh no. Okay.
That's so much worse. Yeah.
so she's like, all right. In between everything else I've got to do, I got to teach you how to cook, which is fun. It seems like she's out to just fix the flaws of everyone on the boat. She's helping Fort learn how to not suck at cooking. She's helping Anne not suck at shooting. It's all fun and games. And then, yeah, the bit with the storm at the end where like the rain is pelting down on the sea and it's just bursting into spikes. It was like, this is some fucked up shit, and I loved it.
Yeah, it gets a little dark at the end there, for sure. And we've mentioned before how this book really has these swings from just like whimsical to oh shit, and yeah, we get another one of those there.
I do wonder how much of that is like the story itself, and how much of it is Hoyd's narration as well, because like, you know, the way he describes the storm, definitely it reminds you of like the Wandersail story or something else. It's like the typical omniscient narrator probably wouldn't have sold this moment as much as Hoyd did.
That's a fair point. He has his flair, so yeah.
Yeah, man's a storyteller.
He's telling us a story right now, and we're loving it. So I guess he is. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Dak on a lot of what's going on this week. There's you know, I like getting little explanations for stuff. So the scholarly stuff is great. But yeah, there's some of those key points that stick out. Yeah, what Laggert's thoughts were, besides like she's not afraid of she's not afraid of spores, so I should teach her how to fire the cannons. I don't really get it. But yeah, then Tress is taking on a lot of stuff, right? Which I feel like she's been doing since she got on the boat. She's trying to get closer and help Anne. She's realizing, oh no one knows how to cook on this boat. It's not just that they were giving me the crap. It's literally that's what everybody's eating. And so having to do that and that they have such a nice moment, she and Fort, when you realize like, oh, there's like this whole cultural thing behind Fort's trading, and he's like super proud of it. It's like, oh, it's kind of a neat like way to spin a cultural like hunting society. It's like, no, now we talk about how good we are at trading stuff. It's kind of an interesting little take on it. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
and then,
I like the idea where it's like you can't support like a hunting culture this far, like as it gets a lot bigger and stuff and into the future. So we had to come up with something else.
Yeah, and I like Tress kind of taking that on, and for each of those people, Anne and Fort, and kind of just being a person that they can have a good time with. It was fun. It goes to show Tress is which I think we already kind of knew this, but Tress is a fun gal. She seems like a fun time. So, and she cares a lot about people. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, the kind of like polar opposites of like whimsy and then horrifying like Final Destination style body death was it's kind of funny in its own like dark way. It's like we're on this kind of whimsical comedic journey, and then you get these like super dark death scenes, and you're just like, oh, that's there, huh? That doesn't fit. That doesn't fit super great, but it's also it's also not boring. So, but yeah, no,
it's certainly not boring.
Yeah. Crossing into the Crimson Sea, very fun, terrifying at the same time. This aspect where there's different oceans with different kind of like, quirks, if you will. It reminds me of what little I've read of One Piece, because One Piece has a lot of different like zones in it when they're sailing around. Yeah. And each zone kind of has its own like thing. So kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, good stuff.
Interesting. I know almost nothing about One Piece except that it's like pirates and stuff. So I never would have imagined they have like different zones of ocean.
Yeah. They're chasing the One Piece and they're not sure which area it's in, so they're looking for it. Yeah, there's a zone called Skypia where it's like there's actually an ocean in the sky made out of clouds. It's kind of interesting.
Neat.
Do you sail from the ocean on the water up into the ocean in the sky?
Yes, but it's very difficult, and most of the ships get destroyed when they try to do it.
It's like
cloudy elevator.
Yeah, basically like a cloudy elevator. Yeah.
Neat.
Interesting. This has been our anime minute for
manga
minute.
Manga minute. If you want to check out One Piece, I'm sure it's very popular. It's been out since 2000, so it's a manga that's been going for 20-something years and is finally like on the horizon of a conclusion.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if you've been writing a comic for 26 years, you're probably ready for it to come to a close.
No joke. Last week was Solo Leveling. This week is One Piece. So.
Yeah, we talked about Solo Leveling last week. That's right. I forgot about that.
I was going to say, I think I know some comics that have been going for more than 20 years, but...
Yeah, but I feel like are you talking about like comic strips?
I was thinking of like Girl Genius personally, web.
Oh,
that is continuing story for I don't know how long.
That's just that one author guy. Nobody else writes it.
Yeah, the guy and his wife, and I guess they're colorist also. But yeah.
Just like should I watch One Piece? Look it up on Wikipedia. Number of episodes 1,155.
Yeah, it's just so daunting at this point, which is why I would say like, and I'm become a proponent over the years of just reading manga. You'll be able to consume it at a much quicker pace if you just read it. Like sitting there and watching it, like sitting there and watching it is just not. I feel like it's not viable at this point unless you're already inside of it.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, well, let's get into this thing that we are reading. Brandon's been writing books for 20 years now, right? Yeah. When did Elantris come out?
I don't know.
Let's see. Elantris came out in 2005. So yeah, it's been just over 20 years that Brandon has been writing the Cosmere, and we've covered most of that 20 years at this point in our 5 years of or so. Is it 6 now?
It's getting close to 6. Yeah, it'll be 6 next month.
Hang on, did we start on like 20th of April or something?
We started recording in March, but yes, the first one released in April.
Was it like?
Yeah, it'll be 6 years.
I remember
20th, because I've just opened up Elantris on Wikipedia and it says the book was published on April 21st. I'm like, oh my god, did we share the day?
Hold on. Now I'm gonna look 1 second. Let's go page 10. Well of Ascension. Final Empire. Here we go. 16, 15, 11. Our first one was April 20th, 2020.
Oh, very close then.
Yeah.
Dang.
Not far off. And
If
now
only the
has
21st had been on a
downloads.
Monday. 23,000.
Yeah, and then our
What's
next
the drop off?
Episode 2 has 8,000. So
I mean, you know.
Oh man. But anyway, yeah. So we've what is that? We've done in 6 years what he took 20 years to write, more or less. So I mean it's gonna
Took me an hour to write.
It's gonna be at least another year before we're done with Stormlight, I guess. So
it took me an hour to write. I thought it would take an hour to read.
we're going much faster than he is writing. That is the upshot, I think.
Female lawyer.
Dude, when I was really loopy this morning after not sleeping, and I was singing that. I was like, single female lawyer dealing with her clients, wearing sexy miniskirts and being self-reliant.
Hey, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, and of course, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
That just means that they are Philistines. So
it's true.
You need to hit him with the second verse then. Single female lawyer having lots of sex.
Yeah.
As long as there's not like a lawyer walking by in the building at that moment.
Yeah.
That might be sexual harassment, actually. So anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on. So our first chapter this time was The Scholar. And Tress is in her room sorting through the stuff that we've left behind. And she's got to come up with something. She's like, she now has this, what she says, like a literal deadline coming up where they reach the dragon and she's going to get traded. So she needs to come up with something before that. And so she's looking through the stuff. What can I use? And Weave's notes are not so much notes as like random scraps of paper with ideas thrown around. And you've got a schematic of a cannonball, and the captain wants Weave to figure out how to make cannonballs so they don't have to keep buying cannonballs.
Then you got to buy raw materials.
That's true. Probably cheaper than buying the cannonballs. Though. That's
usually it's cheaper than the finished product.
So you don't need like equipment to make it. That's expensive.
Yeah, and you got to then there's the time and labor aspect of it. And it's like
true.
Cool. You've either got one person, Tress or Weave, working on it, or else, God forbid, the Dougs.
The Dougs. Don't let the Dougs do it, man.
Who let the Dougs out?
So we get some more information about how the cannonballs work. We learned a little bit already, but it's basically like a shell with water inside. We knew that much, but it bursts open because it has a timer, a fuse essentially in it, and that fuse is a vine grown from the Emerald Sea, the green aethers. Because once you've got this vine, you can apply more water to it, and it will grow at like a predetermined rate. Essentially, like you can, it works like clockwork. You apply this much water, it grows that much. So very good to know. Also, I like the note that yes, it is emergency food, but you have to make sure that it has exhausted all of its growth potential before you start eating it, or it will start growing in you, which is not what you want.
No.
It's like pineapple, the food that eats you back.
Yeah, exactly. And inside, there's also, like, you need to be able to determine when the water breaks out. Duh. And so you surround the Zephyr Spore charge with a sphere of rosite, and then you put that in wax so that it doesn't get wet. And the little vine, as it grows, pushes a silver tip into the Zephyr Spores, releasing the water and making them explode. and shooting water all over the whatever it is you're aiming at. So it's really cool. Very like he really thought through the details of these cannonballs, which I love.
Yeah, very intricate.
And Hoyd has his aside about the human species and how to advance it needs some foolhardiness. You need someone that is willing to venture close to that hot orange stuff that turns wood black and makes Tharg's beard smoke. So you have to ride. you need the species to ride this line between like smart enough to keep yourself alive, but just dumb enough to be like, hey, let's try this crazy thing and see what happens. Which just his whole description of that is really fun. I liked it. And so Tress is already getting ideas. Like, hey, I could make stuff with these spores. I could come up with some things. And there's even a note from Weave, reference my schematic for flares, which iterates on this design, which is like a spore gun, sort of. I don't know.
I mean,
And so
that's like, could you imagine like someone's giving you lip, so you've got a little bullet. It's got this whole like little silver tip and the wax and everything inside, but it's got crimson spores instead. So you shoot someone and the bullet hits them, and all of a sudden spikes explode out of their face.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
and also awesome. It's like the line we're writing here. Both terrifying and awesome is Tress of the Emerald Sea.
Indeed. Ossifying.
But then someone comes to the door, and it ruins her whole train of thought. And it's Fort who's brought her some food, so that's nice. And I love that Fort is like, hey, you still owe me for this food. Captain never did order me to let you eat. So she's like an officer on the ship. She gets an officer's portion of plunder, but not food.
It's just an oversight.
And she's like, okay, so fine. But when we figure out the payment, can you maybe let me have something that isn't scraped off the bottom of the pot? And he's like, what? No, I give you and Hoyd some first. I put yours aside before I feed everybody else. And she's like, oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
When you're telling me this is the best part?
No wonder morale on the ship is so bad.
Yeah.
It's amazing no one's resorted to cannibalism.
Yeah. I'm surprised the dogs aren't eating. Well, I guess they are. Oh.
And so I guess Weave used to cook because he says we took turns after Weave died, and I'm the best cook. Anne's concoction left half the crew sick for 3 days. Which, wow, that's pretty bad, all right.
Is there anything Anne doesn't suck at?
Okay, that's kind of fair. I mean, she's nice. I like Anne, but yeah, you're not wrong.
I like her, and I'm not trying to criticize. It just seems like from the narrative explicitly, it's like Anne just kind of sucks at everything.
So Tress is like, okay, look, before you start cooking tomorrow, come and get me, and we'll figure something out, all right? Because, yeah, this ain't gonna fly. And then there's the alert. The border is ahead. We've spotted the Crimson Sea. Do you want to see a crossing? Which, yes, she does. Yes, I do.
There she grows. And by she, we mean the spikes.
Yeah, right. And then we get another aside from Hoyd where he's like, look, the spore seas, they're really pretty and all that. I don't think I can recommend visiting. There are places in the Cosmere more deadly, but few are so casually dangerous.
I love that.
It's like you'll just be breathing in at the wrong moment and suddenly your skull is a colander. So, yeah, I don't think I would want to go there.
Yeah. It's such a wonderful, beautiful place where you die.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tress is watching, like looking at as you see the emerald moons falling behind us. The verdant moon has been watching over her whole life, she thinks. But now it's the red ocean and the red moon. And Force says, you're grinning. And she's like, sorry, this is just so terrifying. And he's like, you smile when things are terrifying? I didn't used to. I think my brain is intimidated by how insane things are out here. It's a great answer.
Yeah, it's like that moment of like, oh God, this is the situation that I'm in. I can't stop smiling.
Why am I enjoying this?
I'm not. It's just my brain trying to cope with the overwhelming emotions.
Either that or I've secretly been a masochist.
And just as they cross over, here comes some rain, as if it was just waiting for them. And you can see it like it's like a ribbon of rain, and then on the sea behind it, all these red spikes shoot up. Fortunately, Soleil is very experienced helm swimming here. She can dodge back into the verdant sea And then the captain's like, yeah, maybe we should stay on the border for a little bit and find a better place to
Yeah, not the place that might immediately kill us as soon as we cross.
And Tress is just like, man, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. And Ulam's over here like, I can help with that. Just don't, Ulam. Like, and so here's where Laggert shows up, and he's like, okay, come here. I'm going to teach you how to shoot the cannon. The rest of the crew are too useless around spores to be trained, so congratulations, you're up. And he shows us, like, the Zephyr charge goes here, cannonball goes here, here's how you set it off. So have at it.
Yeah. Figure it out with no other instruction, because I am Laggert, the guy who doesn't give a shit.
See, this is where you realize he falls into this thing. I think I can't call any examples immediately to mind, but I feel like Brandon has done it in the past. Like, you've got your main antagonist of the book, who is complex and scary but sympathetic in some way, which is Captain Crow at this point. And then you've got this other like secondary villain or antagonist, and he's just like, there's no complexity here. He's just a dick.
Yep.
So you're saying Gaz?
I feel like Gaz kind of has like this weird mini redemption arc, and he kind of becomes more interesting, but you still don't really like him.
In the first book is what I was thinking.
Yeah, Gaz in the first book's real dick.
Gaz in the first book.
No.
Rashone.
Well, even he in we haven't seen much of him yet. You're right.
He's not complex. He's just a dick. It's just he happens to be figuring into some other backstories. So it's like, man, his dickishness spreads far and wide.
He gets a little bit added when we see him at the beginning of Oathbringer when Kaladin makes it home, but yeah, not much. Honestly, his wife gets more depth than he does.
Yeah, he gets some minutely.
Yeah. Laggert shows her they've got like a little target thing with a flag on it that you can throw out on there and trails behind the ship. And he's like, okay, see, you throw that out there, you aim at it, take 5 shots a day, and once you can hit the buoy, when you can do it in at most 2 shots, then we'll talk about actual training. Otherwise, I can't be bothered with you.
What does he do? What task does he have that is so time pressing he can't be bothered?
It's an interesting question. Yeah, he is the gunnery master or whatever on the ship, and I guess it said he's first mate also, right? So maybe he's got stuff.
I mean, what though? What is he doing?
I don't know.
What is his job?
The first mate's supposed to like supervise all the other people, right? Isn't that how that? I don't know how ships go. I know Star Trek.
That's like he doesn't even seem to be doing that.
It's
like, where is he?
Like, he's like, I'm reading a book in my cabin. It's fine.
If you'll need me, I'm going for my 3-hourly bum scratching session.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sabotage some more cannonballs. See you guys later.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's very labor intensive to sabotage.
Yep.
But he's got Tress realizes, hey, here's my chance. Hey, what if I started with something like less expensive than cannonballs, like a flare gun? Do we have something like that? He's like, what kind of idiot are you? Flare guns are totally different from cannons. Just do what I told you. He's like, okay, well, good try. And she's like, what am I going to do? Like, he has told me absolutely nothing about how to, like, I'm supposed to just, like, mess around until I fall ass backwards into how to do this correctly. And here comes the solution.
Shoot it. See ya.
She comes up with the idea, fires the cannon one time, and Anne's head pops right up. Like a little prairie dog. Like, wait, what's going on?
If I can't be trained by the best, then I'll be trained by the worst.
But Anne at least knows details about how the freaking cannon works, shows her how to, like, aim and stuff. It's like, you turn this knob to go that way, you turn that to rotate. And you got to judge the distance, because each of the cannonballs has a different fuse length. So you need to pick the right one for the right situation. And Tress is like, oh, there should be an easier way, like a cannonball that explodes when it hits something. So she's coming up with ideas, although some of it's based on impact detonation charges, something that she saw in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks, I mean, that wouldn't be hard, would it? You just take the whole setup and you make it so it goes backwards, and when it hits, it pushes the silver into the thing and explodes. You're like, yeah, come on, that's got to be doable. But it would have to not be round, so that it would go, like, it would have to point in the right direction and hit in the right direction. A cannonball that's not round, though, could you even do that? I love the thoughts.
She's talking about a bullet.
Yes, exactly. Or a shell really would probably be more accurate. But
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking. I was like, you're just talking about a bullet, but I guess you don't understand that you're talking about a bullet.
yeah.
Which I guess we don't know the level of bullet technology here. Like, are the bullets the captain fires? Are they circular? Like, are they spherical?
Yeah, it might be a black powder ball situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Old school flintlocks and muskets and shit.
She was
I
pretty
guess.
accurate with firing them, though. The captain was. Anyway, and then we get some backstory on Anne. She grew up as a chicken farmer, but she just always really liked guns. And I love that we get all this information. It's like, I asked Fort and about why you do this or why you're so into guns, and he thinks that it's like firing guns lets you control your surroundings. And Anne's just like, huh. And he's usually so good at figuring people out. And I asked Soleil, and she said this other thing. And Anne's like, oh, well, yeah, she's terrible at figuring things out. And then, please tell me you asked Ulam about me. And yeah, he said something about guns and cigars for some reason. I don't know. And it's just like, when it comes down to it, Anne's like, well, I just think they're nifty. Like, guns are super cool. And so as soon as she was old enough, she signed up for the gun cruise near her town. And she lasted 24 days. Did you know cannonballs can bounce? It's the craziest thing ever. I think I'm the only cadet in the militia to ever shoot her own sergeant when he was behind her inside the barracks. Yeah, okay, that's probably cut her from the team at that point. Good call, guys.
Yep. I once
Not a good look.
I was once playing with those Nerf guns that shoot like the discs instead of the bullets, because
Yeah.
the discs are meant to ricochet around corners. And I don't know what I did, but I ricocheted off 2 corners and got myself in the forehead.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yep.
Oh, man. I thought you were going to be like, I bent the bullet like Angelina Jolie in that movie, but no.
You know what? That's actually what I was trying to do.
What was
I
that?
I was sweeping the gun like in Wanted. And
Yeah, that's what I was
and,
to say. Is that wanted?
Oh,
Yep.
man. I love it.
Bended bullets.
And so they come to an agreement where Anne will help Tress figure out how to shoot, and Anne will get to take a turn here and there. And Anne's like, oh my gosh, really? Like, she's so happy. Laggert will be mad, and Tress is like, yeah, whatever. He told me to figure this out on my own, so.
Hang on, we got to go back to Hoyd's narration when Tress asks her if he wants to take a shot. And Hoyd says, that is probably the craziest, most reckless thing I've ever heard someone say, and I was literally part of a secret plot to kill God.
Yep.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, Hoyd.
Also the implication that Hoyd heard this, so he's like hanging out here somewhere.
He's around here. Maybe
It's like they
maybe
just
somebody
rolled
told him about it later.
They just opened the barrel at Hoyd's ear, they're like, hi.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. Given what we've seen of him, I would not be surprised.
I'm the human cannonball.
Fire me! Fire me!
And I'm not actually human.
He's something.
Is he?
He's something, all right.
But yeah, she's gonna let Anne take a shot, and Anne cranks the cannon, and before she fires, Tress is like, Anne, the buoy is that way? And Anne's just like, looks on to me. And Tress is like, she's at least 30 degrees off. Like, that's a big off to be.
Like,
but Anne says,
yeah, how is she that off? Does she like have like a vision impairment of some kind?
I would buy that
Yeah.
from what we're seeing. Yes, like that would make sense, right?
She's severely nearsighted.
I'm not sure what other explanation there is for that, actually, unless she's just real dumb. I don't. You'd have to be like Hoyd levels of dumb in here to be like, no, yeah, that looks right.
It's like,
Tress is
my
just like-
brain has not been taken by the sorceress. I'm just dumb.
Oh, it could be a sorceress curse. There you go.
No way.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to do what you love most.
Yeah. I would be a little annoyed if every explanation for a weird character flaw is sorceress curse.
You mean like in Stormlight, where a weird number of people have gone to the Night Watcher?
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong about that. That's a
Yeah.
good point you're making.
It's like Brandon's version of a wizard did it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the sorceress did
Simpsons did it.
it. And so Tress gives her some advice, like crank it back some. Yeah, there you go. Now try shooting that. And she fires it, and it goes out there and hits. The cannonball hits, doesn't hit the buoy or anything, but It says it just hit the sea and vanished without harming anyone, is an entire sentence. And Hoyd's like, I'll be honest, I was surprised myself. And Anne is like tearing up. She's so like, oh, I was starting to think that I really was cursed, but now I know I just have really bad aim. And oh, also, do you know if we have a flare gun? And Anne's like, oh yeah, sure. Go. You can get one from Fort. Which I feel like she should have thought to ask the quartermaster first, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, I guess it's a projectile, so it makes sense to ask the cannon master, who, as previously noted, is a honker's dick.
Yeah. And then at the end of this chapter, at least in our version of the book, is where you get the very pretty, as Dak mentioned, half green, half red image of them crossing over.
Yep, that's where we got it too.
Okay, good. So they're not all the images are like way before they should be.
I mean, I think it was just that one, but it was.
I thought there was another one.
Was there?
Maybe there was just one.
I feel like out of context, this picture is like, okay. But when you know the context, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. The one of like the vines wrapping around the boat that she escaped before.
Yeah.
Oh, was that off also? Okay.
It was not by much, only like a tiny bit, but yeah.
And then we move into chapter 40, the chef, and that is the first one where we get the red instead of the green. You get spikes growing out of the number instead of the vines.
Yep. I'm loving the bold artistic swings.
And the first few words of the chapter used to be green, and now they're red. So yeah, it's so much cool little detail. Okay, so we go and we find Tress is looking through the kitchen. Like, what does she have to work with? The kiln-like oven is fueled by sunlight spores. So there's another kind of spore. I don't remember if we'd heard of sunlight yet.
No, that's new, I think.
Clearly they heat, so that makes sense.
Just occurred to me. Oh, they make heat. All right, here's your magic napalm.
Yeah, maybe. But it heats so unevenly that she's like, well, no wonder he keeps burning everything. Okay. And the oil is it's done. It's completely rancid. Throw this out. It's too far gone. We can't use it. And he puts it away, and she's like, no, seriously, you're not going to be able to make anything edible with that. And he's like, hey, you know what? You'd be surprised what people will trade for. Keep a hold of this. We don't have to cook with it, but all right, whatever. Gives him some nuts, and she says, mash these nuts up. Don't lose the liquid. We can use that since the oil is bad. And we're gonna steam. She turns some pans into a steamer. Steam is a good conductor, and it'll bake things more evenly. And the flour is old, but it's not moldy or anything, so she's like, okay, I can work with this. We can make something decent. Kalu nut bread should be workable, and we can steam that. I don't know if I've ever had steamed bread, but hey, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, there's some kind of like bread that's pretty common that I think is steamed.
Oh yeah?
Is it?
I'll look it up while you guys. I'm interested now.
And presumably you can make it into burger buns so you can serve steamed hams.
Nice.
I had to.
Oh, like bao buns? That's the kind of breadish thing that's steamed, I guess. Although I don't know if that's bread. It's anyway. I'm not gonna. We don't need to go down a rabbit hole. So she goes through the whole process, cooks up some bits of bread, and she says that he was watching her, or she thinks that he's watching her really closely. Maybe he's trying to learn how she's doing it, or maybe he's suspicious. I don't know. We find out in a minute. He's like, I was watching to make sure you didn't like try to swap out some good bread with the bread you were cooking and make me think you were doing well. Like, he's really suspicious, is what I'm getting.
And where would I have gotten that, Fort?
And so she rips off a piece when it's done and lets him test it, and he starts crying. And Boyd makes a note that it's like, tears, that's a tough response for an artist because it's not a middle ground reaction. Either it's really good or really bad if you see tears, and you got to figure out which one it is. And then he takes another bite, and she's like, okay, it must be good tears then. Okay,
he's still eating it. He's not crying because he's sad.
Meanwhile, Tress is chopping up seagull for the meat pies. So,
but are seagulls the same as we know them on this planet?
I have no idea.
Because they live on a spore ocean. So, what are they eating?
Yeah, how are they not dying? We talked about that in the first episode, I think, because, I don't know.
Sporefish.
Maybe they've evolved to eat the spores. I don't know.
Yeah,
mean-
there's like they have some kind of dry mouth, dry body experience that allows them to get nourishment from the spores and not be destroyed.
Might not be
Yeah.
very moist to eat.
I mean, there could be animals living in the spores that have evolved to adapt to it. I mean, we know the
Possible.
dragon. We know the dragon lives under the sea. So
Yeah. But even
Yeah.
then, if the seagulls haven't evolved way differently, they can't like dive down into the spores to grab a fish because they would, they have eyes and mouths and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this dragon thing works, because yeah, if he lives under the sea and it's not like in a weird like under spore cave, if such a thing exists, like he takes people to experiment with, like what they also must have to live down there, so there's got to be some way that he's using, he or she, whichever the gender of the dragon, or gender neutral dragon, we don't know.
I think it's
But anyway,
didn't it?
yeah. So what is he doing that allows them all to live under the spores?
he just puts them in a really big plastic bag, takes them down to the
Yeah.
cave.
In a big bubble.
Yeah, it's like when you get fish from you buy fish from the store. They're like, all right, they can only stay in that bag for like an hour. Then you got to get them into some fresh water.
Yep.
You gotta keep changing the aquarium that he keeps his humans in.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like that picture actually. Okay. And so
he's doing his experiments. He's like got them set up in a maze, like rats in the maze. All right.
yeah, we don't know what kind of experiments. Maybe it's all social experiments. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe there are no experiments. This is another this is like a fool you thing. Dragon's actually super cool.
Maybe.
He's like, yeah, if I like you, I'll get rid of your curse. But other than that, I'm
Turns
good.
out he's just a bro,
Just a bro.
chilling, doing dragon stuff.
Yeah. He loves a good joke. He's like, I'll help you out if you can tell me a good joke.
Hey. I would feel really put on the spot if you were confronted with a dragon. He's like, I'll let you live if you tell a good joke.
Yeah.
I would
think
probably
that's the juxtaposition, right? It's like a terrifying thing, and then it's like a silly thing that now become terrifying as well, because now it's a dragon being like demanding, like, tell me a joke or you're dead.
It reminds me of that scene from Boondock Saints where the guy gets put on the spot and tells the super racist joke.
I forgot about
I have
that.
not watched that in a long time.
I don't remember the last time I watched it.
I watched somebody reacting to it not long ago, and so it's maybe it's fresh in my mind because of that.
Yeah.
But, oh man, that's a movie. Anyway,
It is a movie.
It is a
It's
movie
like-
that exists.
I love. I don't know if you've ever seen this episode of The Office with I forget that actor's name, but he played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, and he was on WandaVision. But he's in an episode of The Office, and he's like a older teen. He's like, my name's Luke. I love cinema. My favorite movies are Citizen Kane and The Boondock Saints.
that's a range. All right.
Yeah.
You're talking about Ralph Boner? What a guy.
No, not Ralph Boner.
That's the character he plays in WandaVision.
Oh yeah,
He was in
forgot.
Agatha all along too.
I never.
Yeah,
finished
I
that.
think so.
Wait,
I liked
spoil
Agatha
it.
all along.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. Yeah, I do want to finish it. I never did. I think I got to the episode where, hey, spoilers for old Agatha all along coming up right here. Anybody listening? I got to the episode where Kitty dies, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, and then I didn't finish it, and I was like, I don't, and I even told my wife, I was like, I don't think she's actually dead, but we'll see. And then we never
You
saw.
never know if you don't finish it. Yeah.
I'll have to finish it sometime.
Schrodinger's 70 show mum.
Yep.
And I did see like a short interview with Amy Poehler. She has like her podcast now with and Aubrey Plaza was on there, and she was talking about like her crazy laugh on top of the house in that show. She's like, that was probably like my favorite thing I've ever done in a show ever.
Well, good for her. She was good in that.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that casting for that character, but I think
Yeah.
that she really pulled it off.
When she shows up in the first episode, I'm like, whoa, that's weird.
Well, it gets weirder if you watch the whole season, but yeah.
I mean, it's a show about witches. It was already pretty weird.
I'm a big fan of the Witches Road song. They do a couple of different versions in the show, and I've got them both on one of my playlists because I like it a lot. actually.
So, listeners, if you have a subscription to Disney Plus and you enjoy, what is that actress's name? Catherine Hahn?
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, if you enjoy Catherine Hahn, which I do, check out Agatha All Along.
Or WandaVision, if you didn't see that, she's in that also.
Yeah, that's true. This podcast is not sponsored by Disney, but it could be.
Could be. Yeah, Disney, give us a call.
Disney, if you're out there, we would let you sponsor us. We're not above you.
But okay, back to Fort, who says he was watching for Tress to use secret ingredients or swap one cake for another pre-prepared cake. Which, as Bob pointed out, it's like, where did she prepare this cake?
Yeah, it's like even if she did that, the cake would have still had to come from somewhere. They didn't let her off the boat in the last place, so how would she have gotten a cake?
Yeah, it's so random. And she's like, "Wow, you're really suspicious." And he goes, "Well, I'm the quartermaster on a pirate ship." So I'm like, "Okay, well, actually, that's fair when you say
I
that."
guess.
And now comes the haggling, where she's like, "So, how much would you say a meal like that each day would be worth?" And after he's just like wept at one bite of her food, he's like,
How delicious it is.
"I guess that's up for debate."
Is it now?
And I like the note that she's seen him. He's not. He loves to have a good like dicker, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And he gets good deals off of people, but he's not like taking advantage of people. He's not like a selfish guy.
That's just his love language.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who loves a good trade, man.
Tress thought maybe he was like her Aunt Glorf, who had always fought for the best deals at the market. There really is a family name, see?
Oh my god.
I never doubted that it was. I just doubted why.
Yeah.
Aunt Glorf had been afraid of looking silly by being taken advantage of. And then the note that the guess was as wrong as ending a sentence with a preposition, but it worked anyway, like ending a sentence with a preposition. I love the
I feel like
meta
that's a
commentary.
Brandon. Yeah,
That's
the Brandon
absolutely,
Ryder
yeah.
joke. Yeah. But and this is like, going back to our 1-star review episode from last week, Data, which I know Dak wasn't there, but it's like I feel like this is the kind of comedy that some readers are like, this is dumb.
Yeah, maybe.
I like this particular one. I like it, but I can see how other people might wear on them.
Wordplay is a comedy that I enjoy. Although
Sure.
I will say I get it with people complain about like Shalon a lot in Stormlight, and it's like, oh, she thinks she's so clever making these jokes, and like just there's a lot of wordplay in her stuff too.
Mhm.
And Brandon has said he's not necessarily trying to legitimately write, oh, these are super funny jokes. There's a lot of layers to Shalon doing it because A, she's an important light-eyed woman, and so people of lower stature feel the need to be like, oh, haha, you're so funny. That's part of it. Another part of it is culturally, wordplay is seen as like an intelligent form of comedy in that culture, where it's like a sophisticated woman like out wordplays another woman or something like that to show how smart she is. So that's part of it, is that it's a cultural thing, and part of it is that it's Shalon has been using this as a coping mechanism for the horrible like emotional abuse her family has been going through for her entire life, and so it's in some ways immature in that way because she's been using this coping mechanism for many years now. So it's
like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's actually a fair comparison. And so people are like, oh, Brandon's trying to be so funny. And then Brandon's like, there's actually a lot of nuance to why Shalon does the kind of stuff she does. But
yeah,
I mean, the cultural thing.
Yeah. And I think we can tell like Shalon she's not like in world. I don't think everybody thinks she's hilarious. It's like, but except for maybe like the cultural thing of wordplay is like revered or whatever. But at the same time, as a reader, you're kind of like, oh, good one.
Yeah. But what you said about the cultural thing, I was like, oh, that makes sense considering there's literally a position at court for the wordplay dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, yeah.
Although, I'd like to see a wit that is not Hoyd, because I feel
how does that normally go?
Yeah, how does that normally go? Because I feel like so many people are like offended by this particular wit, that that I'd be interested to know how that actually goes with a person that is not that guy.
Let's see a regular Joe as the wit.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to be wit.
No,
Yep, poor choice of words.
there have been several people in universe who commented that like they're surprised no one has killed him yet. So maybe like he's better at riding the line between like insulting but not so insulting that you want to kill him than some of the other ones.
He's better at what's the word? He's better at masking his insults.
Maybe, or maybe for all we know, people have tried to poison him or something repeatedly.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what? This is something that we missed from Dalinar's flashbacks in Oathbringer. Who was the previous wit? Why didn't we see him in the flashbacks?
That's true. That's what I want now is like a novella of like previous wit stories that lead to their death. Just like just like several wits, like a book of wit. That's what you could call it, Brandon. I'm here feeding you a book of wit, and it can end with Hoyd, but it starts with like all of the wits before him, not all, but a good amount of the wits before him that just ended up getting killed because they were not as good at the insult game as our boy Sexy Drifter, which I haven't called him that in a while. Feel like I need to bring it back.
Oh yeah.
I like that. Yep. Okay. Although I'd rather he was just writing the next book than that, but that would
sure.
This
Come
is
on. Yeah, this is nothing for him.
At the pace
Okay,
he
fair
writes, he
point,
could
yeah.
knock that book out in an afternoon.
Yeah, that's a Saturday. That's a Sunday brunch for him. You know.
Okay, I'll give you that. He's doing a lot more like writing with other people now.
Yeah.
To get some of that side stuff out, which as long as it's good, I don't mind. Like he did the last book in one of his series was the Alcatraz series was co-written, and the lady who helped him with that is actually taken over his sci-fi series. He finished like the arc of books that he was doing, but they wanted to continue in that universe, so she's writing like the next arc of books in that universe. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
I wonder, like, to me, it absolutely doesn't matter, right? As long as the content is good. But I wonder how like the name change on titles affects sales. Like, it's like, oh well, Brandon's not writing it. It's like, well, yeah, but I mean, he's written with this lady. He trusts her to do it.
It's like, to me, it feels a little bit like Tom Clancy. He's they started doing a bunch of books that were like Tom Clancy's this, but written by somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure those books didn't sell nearly as well as like a Tom Clancy book, but
right,
we shall see, I suppose. I'm going to read the first book of the new thing for sure, but who knows how many people will be like, oh, it's not Brandon, forget it. So back to the deal making. Fort says, if you make one of these meals once for every day I fed you, our debt will be equal. And Tress is like, that would be a great deal if I was using some rotting loner brain Ulan dug up from the bottom of his drawer. The food you gave me was crap. So,
hey, in case there was any doubt about how I felt about your food earlier, it sucked.
We all know it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he wouldn't argue that even at that point. And he's like, well, look, it wasn't worthless because it kept you alive, but
but at what cost, man?
Assuming it's not poisonous, food has a minimum threshold of usefulness. And I love Tress's response. It wasn't poisonous, but it sure tried.
It failed at that, like everything else it failed at.
And when he tries to negotiate, maybe a little hard, where he's like, I mean, if your food has no value, oh no, I'm sorry. She says the captain says my life is worthless, so the food that you gave me that kept me alive doesn't have worth. He's like, well, if your life is worthless, then what you make can't be worth anything, huh? And she goes with the nuclear option of, okay, well, I guess I won't cook any more of these, and I'll have to find some other way to repay you. And no, stop. We don't need.
Wait a minute, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I need this food.
So he's like, okay, each of these meals you make is 2 days of meals that I gave you. And she says 5, and he says 3, and she says deal. And she says that she only really has time to make 1 meal a day, so he's gonna have to still make the other ones, and she'll show him some stuff to help it not be quite as bad. And he's like, okay, that's a deal as long as you also do a dessert every day. And she's like, okay, fine, but I want a flare gun with flares without questions. And then he says, mask business? And I'm over here like, well, that's a question, Fort. What did she
Yeah.
just say?
And also,
Uh,
like, I like how he doesn't really have to hesitate that much. He's just like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
And so he's like, okay, but meals and desserts for the rest of the trip. And she says, until we reach our destination in the Crimson Sea, which maybe is a slip because he's like, I didn't know we had one of those. Okay, well,
What did you think we were doing out here, man?
well, she convinced them to come out here because they would run into less ships that the captain might make them murder. So
That's
he
right,
didn't
yeah.
know they had a destination. Yeah. And then we get a little bit of his background. He says he's a hunter. He hunts for deals. But it's like, yeah, you can't have a whole society of hunters. It doesn't scale well, is the terminology he uses.
Yeah.
So we had to choose our own hunts. You make bread, plan weddings, whatever your thing is, that's your hunt.
I wonder if there's a reality show called Deal Hunter.
I mean, isn't that
I
kinda
would,
like a lot of the reality shows?
Yeah, but is there one called Deal Hunter? You know, and because it'd be funnier if Brandon was the first on the draw with this, like an animated show with Fort, and he's the Deal Hunter.
That would be very specific. Yeah.
Yeah, and also he can't talk, so
Yeah, that's not the best TV when you have to read everything he says. Maybe if you give it some subtitles.
He's
Yeah.
just standing in front of a giant billboard, and he presses his thing, and it flashes up behind him.
yeah, he could have inner dialogue voice, I guess, because I'm sure in his own head he's got a voice.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, he sends letters home to his family to be hung in our family hall about the great victories he's had. And she's like, "Oh, I have a friend who'd love hearing that story, but and I hope you can meet him someday. Is our trade today? Is that worth one of your letters?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, you would be embarrassed to know how successful I just was. Have you eaten my food?"
He's like, now that the deal is struck, you're an idiot.
I'm gonna brag for 3 pages about this.
Yeah,
No,
I
hurry up,
got you
go on.
so good. Now get out of here.
No, not get out of here. He's like, "Hurry up! I want to try one of those pies."
Yeah, get out of here and make more food so that I can eat it.
I like Fort. It was fun. And then we cut to her cutting apart one of the flares, which is also filled with spores. Shocker. And I guess these spores are these the sunlight spores again? They get super hot when you get water on them, is why the flares work. I'm trying to skim through here and see if it mentions that they are the sunlight spores. But anyway. But so she needs to be careful with these. She needs to be careful with all spores, but you don't want the whole place catching on fire when you're playing with these spores. And Hank, sorry, I always forget Hank. He's over here hiding under a bowl and like peeking out to watch her because he's scared of the spores also. But also there's a cat around still, so there's a bit about the religion. On moon days, twice a year or whatever, they go out and the preacher says stuff about the moons. But every preacher seems to have a different take on things, and she's just like, that I actually appreciate that, because if religion can't get it together, then I can be forgiven for being a mess. Which, that is a great take. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And so this actually has a similar thing to what she was thinking about. It's the flare has like a conical thing with a silver thing on the end, and the silver breaks the rosite core when you shoot the flare, which is filled with water, which then touches the spores, which get super hot and make the flare burn. So she's like, I mean, basically, this is exactly what I'm talking about, but you would just turn it around so that instead of the flare, the silver getting pushed into the thing when it shoots out of the gun, it does it when it hits something. And instead of like these super hot spores, you would use verdant spores. And then you shoot somebody with it, it hits them, vines break out and wrap them up, which is a very cool idea. I like that. It's like to immobilize the captain.
Yep, basically, like a net gun, except it's a vine gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, how am I going to test this?
Yeah, that was when she was making it, before she said that, I'm like, how is she going to test that this works?
And so she's like, I don't want to test it in my room. That seems like a bad idea. But like, where else? And then Tress is kind of feeling bad about everything. And Hank's like, hey, it's okay. You'll find a way out of this. You're good and smart and you're going to make it. And she's like, yeah, but if I do, that means I'm consigning Crow to death because her disease will kill her if she doesn't make the trade with the dragon. So, like, I'm trying to find, like, this non-lethal way of capturing her, but it is lethal in the end. Unless I let her trade me to the dragon, which Yeah, I mean, if it's you or her, Tress, come on.
I like this whole thing that she goes on about. It's like we know that Crow doesn't deserve sympathy, but we can't just turn it off anyway.
Yeah, that's deep. I appreciate that.
That was a nice little just description.
And there's also a little bit after that where like she's kind of playing with one of these pieces of vine, and give it a little water, it grows, and it's like growing towards her finger and on her finger. And Hank's over here like, what are you doing? Like, that's terrifying. You're playing with spores. And she's like, well, no, actually, it's not so bad. And so I feel like she's coming to the realization, maybe everyone else has been right, and I'm not as scared of spores as other people. And she's thinking, like, everybody has their thing. Like, Fort trades, Anne loves guns. What do I have? Like, I'm trying to save Charlie, but that's not, like, a personality. That's a goal. And I love my cups, but lately, they're not as big a deal. Partially because she used, like, for her, they were this source of, like, thinking about what amazing other places in the world did these cups come from. And now she's out in the world seeing stuff, so. And she's like, man, these spores aren't so bad if you, like, treat them okay. Is the whole world misjudging something so common? And Hoyt's over here like, people constantly misjudge common things in their lives. Other people come to mind. So he's like, it's not as weird as she thinks. Let's see. And then Hoyt has another aside about like fearing things that are unknown is completely normal and like evolutionarily healthy for people. To our ancestors, strange new people meant strange new diseases or the occasional spear tossed into our softer bits. But fear of something like aethers, that's as natural as nipples, but nearly as vestigial as the male variety.
I did not like that metaphor.
I mean, I can't argue with it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying I didn't like it.
That's fair. Yeah, okay. Oh, man. And
natural as nipples is a nice alliterative phrase, though.
It is very alliterative, yeah.
It's natural as nipples. That's it's not one I'm probably going to start working into my vocabulary.
Oh, it's just Joe's going to be throwing that out everywhere.
At the grocery store, man, like, look at these oranges. They're natural as nipples.
Are some of the oranges not natural?
Sure. Crossbred varieties that don't look natural as nipples.
Okay. Okay. Second to last chapter for this time is The Guide. And Hoyt's talking about memories. And I don't like to go too down the rabbit hole with his, like, musings, but we get a lot of them in this book. Memory may not be the heart of what makes us human, but it's at least a vital organ. That's a nice phrasing there. And I guess does confirm that he is human. He says it makes us human.
I'm gonna guess he's humanoid, maybe not human.
Human-ish.
I mean, he was once a human.
The
shard.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the shards are effectively human underneath all their shardiness.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, we saw Addy after he was no longer ruined right before he died. He was pretty human.
You saw Laras's corpse.
Mm-hmm.
What a name, by the way. Laris, Addy.
Yeah.
Stupid names.
I'm glad you're dead. People are dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know the names of a lot of the other shards. So besides their actual like shard name,
we know. We knew autonomies, didn't we?
What is it?
I believe they have told us autonomies. Hold on.
Starts with a B.
Yeah, Bavadin, I think.
Bavadin.
Autonomies.
Yeah, which just sounds like Bobbity from Dragon Ball Z. Like, come on.
Now I'm gonna go grab the lists here and see what other ones.
And we know Odium. Odium is race.
His race. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
How you pronounce it?
I think those are the only ones we know. But the aside from, I guess, cultivation, those are the only ones we've met on a personal level.
Yeah.
Oh no! In one of the letters, it talks about how Dominion and Devotion were shattered, and it tells us the names of those two.
Oh, that's right.
They were Aona and Sky.
Oh yeah.
Which I feel like Aona and Sky sound like more normal names than like Bavadin.
Maybe.
But
didn't we say like one of the shard bearers, was it autonomy, was like one of those weird Goro looking people?
We have talked about one of the shards being that. I don't think it was autonomy. It may have been
autonomy. Okay, never mind.
Hold on a second. Now I'm going to go back and do
so
a quick search in Oathbringer.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So no. While you're searching, I was just gonna kind of think through some things here. So yeah, we don't know what shard is investing Tress's planet.
No.
But
Okay, so we do get in Oathbringer. Sorry to I found we did talk about this. So there was a mention of Ambition being destroyed, like early on. That was like the first one that Odium went after.
Odium took out, yeah.
Yeah, and we were told in one of the letters, her name, I think it was her, was Uli Da, and that we did talk about that is that name formation is one of the Shodel.
Oh,
names.
yeah. Okay, yes, I'm
Yes,
remembering this now.
So we heard that one also.
Interesting. Okay.
And Endowment, I don't remember if we talked about it before, but Endowment is Edgeley, is the name of the vessel, is what they're called. So
I don't think we knew that. But
I don't remember if it's actually explicitly stated or if that's one of the things that Brandon has given us. But yeah, the Tears of Edgeley flower comes from the name of the shard bearer.
Okay.
So
yeah. I heard Brandon pronounce the planet that Mistborn takes place on, and I think it's a little different from the way you say it. I can't remember how he said it.
Scadrial?
Yeah.
Scadrial?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he says Scadrial.
Yeah. The pronunciation of a lot of stuff in Mistborn is a little bit different because, and we talked about it at the very beginning, it's like French based, and so it's like Kelsier is Kelsier, and Vin should be like Vin, but I don't pronounce those things like that.
Elon.
Yeah.
And then there's Breeze.
Yeah. Breeze. Yep.
Monsieur
I guess that's how you would
Breeze.
say it.
Come, people, we must take down the Lord Ruler.
Yeah. Oh, wasing with the burn uncle. No, don't like it. Yeah, how would you say Lestiborns?
Lestiborn.
Well, I don't know, dude. I ain't French.
Or Lestiborne. The ES is like an A.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Lestibon. I don't know. We'll have
I'm
to,
sorry, all French speakers out there.
Yeah,
None of us.
Look, we're we're an Australian and two Americans. Obviously, we're pigs.
But before I traveled to France for a couple of weeks, I spent several months doing what's the app where you try to learn
Duolingo.
Yeah, Duolingo, and it's not the most useful. At least it wasn't for me.
No. Yeah, I've this is a rabbit trail, but I've recently been seeing a lot of stuff online about how those kind of apps help you learn a few phrases, but if you ever want to be fluent, they actually harm fluency.
Oh, interesting.
They said the most effective way to become fluent in a language right now is called ALG, where you basically are not supposed to think about the language. You are just supposed to expose yourself to thousands of hours of hearing the language, not trying to speak it back, not trying to think about conjugation or grammar in any way, just exposing yourself and getting as much input as possible. And they said after thousands of hours, your brain, because of how it's wired to quote unquote survive, will just naturally pick up how to pronounce and say the words correctly after thousands of hours of input.
I mean, being completely immersed in it has always been the best way to do it, but I didn't think about to that level where you're just at home listening to or watching French movies or something. That's interesting.
Yeah, they even say don't try to speak it back. If you hear a word, don't try to say the word yourself when you're first starting out. You're just supposed to let it get into your brain, not say it back, not try to think about it, not try to conjugate, grammar, any of that stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's been your language minute. Yeah. I mean, I think it was the minimum for a class, an ALG class is 500 hours or something.
Oof.
That's the minimum. And that's if you're going to 5-hour-a-day classes or something. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, let's see. Where were we in this book once again? We get to look at the Crimson Moon and the spores coming down from it. It's we get that description also. We're getting closer to the Lunagree, which we were told at the very beginning is the place where the spores come down from the moon. It looks like a lava flow.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And then Tress is like, "Could you please focus, Hoyd?" And we realized, while he's been thinking about this stuff, Tress is in front of his face, come on, hey, we're trying to do a thing here. And he goes, imagine that the sea is a toilet and the moon is the face of God heaving onto us after a long night of getting spun around and around on a bar stool. Thank you so much, White. That was very deep.
See, this is like this was the part. I think I mentioned this to you last week, Data, when we were before we actually recorded our episode with just me and you last week. It's like this was like the point where the 1-star reviews were like, oh, the narrator. Like, this is the point where Hoyd's wearing on me a little. I'm like, okay, I get it, man. You're verbose. You've got metaphors. Like, it's just like it was a little too much. I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, I guess to tell Dak, we did 1-star Oathbringer reviews last time, but I also got a few reviews of people who had read Tress and left a 1-star review, but that stopped reading before and left that review before they got to where we are in the book.
Oh,
So it was like, these are people who quit and left a 1-star review knowing less than we know now. So I thought that was a fun little. Yeah.
And I think like at least a couple of them had never read anything in the Cosmere except for Tress. Like, this was their first introduction. Which Brandon himself said he recommends this as an introductory book to the Cosmere. So I was like, interesting. Like, these people had never read anything else, and their first exposure to Hoyd is this. Like, maybe they would not like him. Yeah, no,
I am really enjoying this book. I do not think it is an entry point.
No, I really don't either. It's a very different book, so maybe that's why he's saying, you could enter with this book, read it by itself and enjoy it, but like, I think it's so much more enjoyable as a person who knows who Hoyd is and knows kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
She's trying to talk to Hoyd about his curse. And he's like, a curse? I have one of those. And she's like, yeah, I know. You told me, and you can only tell me because I already know. And his mind's wandering. She keeps trying to get him to focus in. He's like, I can tell you, yes, something important. Yes, socks with sandals, the new fashion movement. Trust me, it'll be all the rage.
Which,
thanks,
that is a thing right now.
So she's come up with some ideas to try to get around the curse. Look, I've written a bunch of words on this paper that I think have to do with curses. Are there any of these words you can't talk to me about? Because that will be a clue that this is part of your curse. And he's like, that would have been a good idea. I would have been impressed if I hadn't been distracted wondering if anyone had ever made clothing out of napkins yet.
I'm sure they have. I've watched Project Runway. They make weird stuff out of weird stuff.
And she says anything, and he goes, I have apparently forgotten how to read.
Like, showing legendary patience.
It really is.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, maybe I can say letters to you, and you can think of the way to break your curse, and I ask you if this letter is in that word. And he's like, well, that actually wouldn't have worked. That's a workaround the sorceress has thought of, and it's programmed into the curse. So, and he's just like, letters, spelling words, reading. And she's like, uh-huh. You never answer my question, though. Can we do that? And then he can't say anything. And she goes, wait, every time I talk about sailing to see the sorceress, you get quiet. In fact, those are the only times you're not talking. And she figures out, like, she can basically process of elimination this. She gets a map, and she points at a spot in the Midnight Sea. And if he can talk about that spot, that's not where the sorceress is. And she narrows it down that way to find the sorceress's island.
This is brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. It's it works perfectly. It's actually really impressive, and it's a kind of a short chapter, honestly, because it's so successful so quickly.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And then the beautiful moment is ruined because rain is shooting straight for the ship. And that takes us to our last chapter, The Musician. And the chapter starts and ends with some talk about like the superstition of a storm. I know sailors fear storms on your planet, he says. It's common among all seafaring cultures that I've met. Most tend to ascribe volition to the storms. They want something. The weather patterns on Tress's world, they're not invested, they're not self-aware, they're not out to get you, but it sure as hell seems that way sometimes.
Yeah. So this is to me, this little section, right, it's a great example of why maybe the book's not quite as enjoyable for somebody who doesn't know what's going on in the greater Cosmere. It's like the storm's not invested. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like if you have no context for the other books, like what are you talking about? It's not invested. This narrator's just annoying me now.
Yeah.
He does translate it on. He's like, they're not invested, so they aren't self-aware.
Right.
But
Yeah,
you're right.
Even still, it's dangling something in front of you, and you're just like, I don't know what that means. And
Yeah,
so, it's very,
I don't
it's very
even
clearly, you have to read the other books to understand what this means.
right.
Yeah.
And I get authors do that to an extent, but like it doesn't even give you context in that moment for like where could I go to get this information? So, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
The way it's presented, it's not presented like something that's foreshadowing for something you might learn later in the book. It's kind of
Right.
thrown out as a factoid that, like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, well, eat shit.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what I found throughout my life? People don't tend to like somebody who dangles a bit of information over them and it's like, I know about this and you don't.
Fair.
Yeah.
You mean like me hosting this show?
You do it in a much more genial way. You're not quite as sarcastic in our face about it. And it's funny to me to just be like, this guy reads from a card.
I do feel like this section confirms, or at least somewhat, that who he is telling the story to.
Yeah.
Being somebody from like the Sixth of the Dusk planet.
Yeah.
Which is First of the Sun is the name of that planet. But yeah, earlier we had like, you guys would like stories about like this guy who sailed around the world with no AVR. And then we have this where it's like, you guys fear storms that all seafaring cultures do, which I think they're really the only what we would call a seafaring culture that we know of in the Cosmere. Maybe the Thalens, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's like when he starts talking about, the storms aren't self-aware. It's like, well, Stormlight planet, they sort of are.
But yeah, that one's invested.
You could also argue, though, as a reader who has no context for the Cosmere, that he's talking about people on Earth that are seafaring.
Yeah, it totally could be.
So like that could add so that could add more confusion, right? It's like, wait, is he talking to me right now? Who's he talking to?
Yeah, so the ship is trying to get away from the rain spike, and it's coming for them, and Soleil is working real hard to avoid this thing, to the point that 3 Dougs have to rush over and help push the wheel even more. And you see the spikes pop up where the rain hits the spores. And it's like these enormous spikes that kind of sit up there for a minute and they sink back down beneath the spore sea. It's real freaky.
Yeah.
And they're moving so hard that Tress is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sick. But I don't want to vomit where there might be spores. That would be bad. So she finds a bucket instead. And just when they think that they've gotten away, one final wave dumps a bunch of violent, scarlet, thirsty spores across the deck. And Tress was not the only one who'd been ill. There was a burst of red on red, a flash of spikes, and in the blink of an eye, one of the Dougs had been nailed to the wood outside the captain's cabin.
Yeah, it's no good.
That's bleak.
Hoyd thinks, I've never seen a man bleed out so quickly, but I've also never seen a man with so many places for the blood to escape.
I feel like he's gotta call these guys Dougs, so we're not like, oh no, Doug.
Not Doug. I loved him.
Wait,
maybe
there's another Doug. That's what we need. We need a scene of just Dougs talking to each other. Just like, hey, Doug. Yeah, Doug.
What up, Doug?
Hey, Doug. Did you see the captain? Yeah, she's right pissed. She beat up Doug the other day. No, wait, not Doug. Yeah, I thought he was her favorite. It's like, well, you can't always be the favorite Doug.
No, you're thinking of Doug, not Doug.
Oh, that Doug. Yeah. It's a real
these guys
Smurf.
become the fucking Smurfs.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a real Smurf situation.
Oh man.
Yeah, she dugged. Yeah, she dugged on my Doug till I dugged. It was crazy.
We find out that they have training for this
Doug in cargo hold.
This sort of situation where they sop up. They get emergency towels to sop up the liquid so that it doesn't get over the sides of the ship. Yeah. And there's even the ships are even designed so that liquid does not go off the deck over the side into the spores, which is funny. That's like the opposite of how our ships are designed, where if there's water on it, you want it off. So it's designed to like go off. But
Yep. They're cleaning them. They're trying to clean it up, and they're like, "Watch out for the dug hole, bud."
And there's a whole thing where Hoyd's like, even now, I have this uneasy feeling about those days crossing the Crimson Sea. I know that the storms are not directed. There's no entity like sending them at you, but knowing is not always believing. A storm is living even when not specifically invested, because life as a concept is a human construct. We define it. Nature doesn't care. It's an interesting thought. I don't know that I 100% agree with that, but okay. And we end with him being like, what was the rain? A capricious god taunting us? A natural process given autonomy only by our brains as they search for patterns? I know what I believed that day. Of course, he was really stupid that day, so, you know.
I was going to say, it's like,
true.
How much this is like a man. Hoyd he can feel fear.
Yeah, well, when
Yeah,
your
it's
brain
true.
don't work.
Yeah, we don't know how in danger he actually is from these things, but probably it wouldn't be fun to be stabbed with 100 spikes, even if it didn't kill you.
Certainly not. I just ask Wolverine.
Yeah, right. But that is the end of our section for this time. We have 3 episodes left of this book. Next time, we're
Wow.
doing chapters 44 through 51, which is 8 chapters. And that'll bring us up to
44 through 51. Okay.
We are 66% of the way through the book this time. That will bring us up to 77%. So 11
Ooh.
more percent.
66? Are we 66.666 repeating?
I don't know that because my Kindle doesn't give a decimal.
Come on, I want to be exactly 2/3.
But among the chapter titles in the next section, 47 is called The Poet, 48 is called The Nightmare, 50 is called The Murderer, and 51 is called The Dragon. So
Hey,
That's cool. Be more interesting if the poet chapter was called Jedi Poet, but it's
you guys may remember, friend of the show, Jedi Poet. Anyway,
yeah.
predicaments. Let's we got 8 more chapters. We're passing that 3/4 part of the book, and part 5 of 6 ends. Chapter 53 is the last one, so not in this next one, but in the one after that. We are approaching the final part of the book. So, what do you guys think? Where are we going? What's going to happen?
God, I don't know. I feel like we're still pretty on track for what we predicted last time. We're gonna see the dragon, and we're gonna get acquainted with them, and Tress is gonna try and pull a fast one on Crow over that whole situation. What would it gonna do when we get there? I don't know. I don't know. And like we see people reacting to the food. I feel like the murder is probably gonna have something to do with Weave, and we're gonna see a bit more into Crow's head as to why she did that. But I don't know.
So, we spent a lot of these chapters looking at Tress is coming up with ideas for how to use the spores in different ways. So, any idea how that will play into as we continue through the book? Because I don't think that was something that we'd gotten much of before this section.
No. So she has access to every kind of spore, even the ones we haven't seen yet.
We do not know that. Hold on. In fact, I think it actually tells us that she has most.
She's got rose. She's got green. She's got crimson. Well, I don't know
So
if she has any stored, but she can just like stick a cup off the boat and wake some crimson ones up if she really wanted.
That's true. We were told last time, in the section we read last time, that Tress's room contained 5 different varieties of the most dangerous substance on the planet. Which we presume means spores. That would make the most sense.
Okay, well, she's definitely got green, blue, Zephyr, rose, and the black. She's got the midnight spores. We know that.
And now we've seen the hot ones, which I guess are probably
she's got the sunlight ones, the hot ones.
So that may be the good kind.
All right, so she's got her flashbangs. Yeah, I guess she'll continue studying. I don't know how we're going to incorporate all those in. Yeah, I got nothing. Sorry.
All right, fair. What do you think, Joe?
There's a lot of stuff that could happen here. I kind of agree that the switcheroo is going to be attempted with the dragon, but I don't think it's going to work out. Right? I feel like every specific plan that Tress has made has not really worked out for her, but then something else works out. So doesn't mean that it's not gonna that he's not going to be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish. She wants to accomplish, maybe just not in a way that she thinks that it should or would happen. What shape that's going to take, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a little different. Then I will say I had this interesting thought while we were talking about like combining the spores, which I don't know if that's ever been a thing that's been talked about. But like if she's got all the spores, maybe she could make white spores, and those would be like super crazy powerful in some way. I don't know how. I don't know why. But it'd be interesting, like if you could combine the spores and combine the investiture power in some way.
See, when you said combined spores, my thought was like a frag grenade, where you mix like the blue ones and the red ones in there, and then it explodes spikes in every direction and impales people. But
Yeah.
You were thinking a little deeper than that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, no, I like that idea too. But yeah, I feel like I feel like Tress is going to be like find out more crazy ways to use the spores just cuz she's so creative and imaginative that like other people have not thought of before. I think that's where we're headed, right? Like Tress is the spore queen. Trademark Sanderlanche podcast.
There you go. No one else can say spore queen. Sorry, y'all. Okay. That's it does seem to be building to that. Oh, like I said, we didn't get much of that before, but these chapters are really like, oh, she's got the right kind of mind to come up with some new uses here, which could be a lot of fun for us. All right, then. Let me see. Let's do a few emails then, y'all. This one is entitled Oathbringer, and it is from Chandler, presumably not the one from Friends. He's no
dead.
with us. Yep.
Yeah.
R.I.P. No, there was more than one Chandler.
Chandler Bonong.
Miss Chandler Bong.
Miss Chandler Bong.
Just finished your Oathbringer coverage. Like many, this is my favorite Cosmere novel you've covered up to this point. I could point out lots of things I like about it, but peak is chapter 84. I hope I got that right. Not only because Elokar dies there, although if you recall my past email, it does not hurt, but more importantly is for what is a defining moment, it's for Kaladin. His horrified realization that all people on all sides are people and deserving of protection is incredible to me. His ability to recognize that fact really sets him apart as a fantasy protagonist. His inability to act in the crucial moment marked him as a genuine hero in a strange way. And the fact that he keeps fighting after makes him one of my favorite main characters in the genre. Maybe it's strange to feel this way about an all is lost moment, but that scene brought me such catharsis and encapsulates one of the reasons I love the Cosmere. Unlike most heroic and epic fantasies that I've read, I feel Sanderson rarely valorizes violence uncritically or without irony. Even when the heroes are hacking down nameless thugs, there's a question of morality and a quiet awareness that this is at the very least an unfortunate thing. There are no orcs in the Cosmere. Every time we think the heroes are up against an evil species or race, they prove to be either victims, like the Inquisitors or the Koloss, or have a legitimate grievance, like the Singers. Even Ruin, Autonomy, and Odium are victims of their shards in a way. There are lots of jokes about how so many Cosmere plots involve, from my perspective, the Jedi are evil. But that's often a crucial point to understand. Everyone has a perspective, yes, even the guy who wants to eat babies or blow up the planet, and it's worthwhile to understand what that perspective is, even if we also have to headbutt him so hard he explodes. Anyway, love the show, keep it up, from Chandler.
Cool email, especially on the tail of our last episode, because I think we talked about that a lot, about like, I feel like a lot of the 1-star reviews that we read about Oathbringer were basically like, Kaladin's in the background and he's not important and he's not the hero.
He's not the hero saving the day and people don't like it.
Yeah, and people don't like it. And I'm like, yeah, but I think this person, like we did last week, made a point. It's like I've never seen those books as Kaladin is main guy anyway, and it's always been more of an ensemble. And like, yeah, I think it's more real that like Kaladin has moments of like I don't think I can do this. So yeah, it's cool. I liked it. Good email. I the only teeny thing I would disagree with you on is like, you know, maybe in fantasy it's always interesting to see the perspective of somebody who's evil, but in real life, bad people, sometimes you don't need to know what their perspective is.
You mean you don't want to know like what the real life baby eating guy is really trying to accomplish?
I don't. Not interested at all. Nope.
Yeah, Dak, you weren't here for that, but it was a common complaint in the 1-star reviews that Kaladin was not 60% of Oathbringer. He didn't get to be the hero and save the day and say a new oath or whatever again. People did not like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, unfortunate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as Ursula would say, you poor unfortunate souls.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I have we got a couple in here that are 5-star reviews, so I guess get your list for that, Joe.
Word up.
The first one says the title is "Wuzzing with the Being Up the Catching."
Okay, you're immediately not going to get anything you want. No, I'm just kidding.
Hello, Data, Joe, Dak, and Jaymee. After many months of reading and listening, I have finally caught up with your most recent episode. I started reading Brandon's works in April of 2025. A bit overwhelmed by the sheer amount of Cosmere content there was for me to consume, I found the podcast through an old Reddit post, and I have been loosely reading along with you ever since, following the same order as you do. Seeing as I wasn't able to convince any of my friends to pick up the beast that is the Cosmere, your show has been a great substitute that has allowed me to get other people's perspective on the books as I go through. I even picked up the habit of pausing every now and then to try and make predictions. Good for you, man. I hope yours are as fun as ours. One thing that has always got a laugh out of me is the, in parentheses, justified hate for Spook. I've used the name Spook as my online name since I was about 10 years old. So it was certainly an experience hearing my name come up anytime the guy was on page. I've included a picture of my 5-star rating on Spotify. Although I am in no way related to Mistborn Spook, I must admit the tin eyes are pretty cool. Greetings from the Netherlands and wuzzing to the time of next, Spook 4113.
Hey, Spook 413. Hey, you just said it, right? You like the tin eyes? You got it, buddy. You're a tin eye.
I love the idea that Spook was this guy's username before he ever read any of these books, and it was like, oh, hey, here's a character that's named after me that the people I'm listening to really hate. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, we didn't all hate Spook, to be fair.
That's true, Data. What is your feeling on Spook?
Honestly, I'd never had super strong feelings one way or another on Spook. He was just another guy who was there. You did manage to point out to me, I never thought of like, I know why you're sad and that whole thing being as creepy as it was. And then when you pointed out, I was like, no, that is kind of creepy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a big creep factor.
So you guys give me alternate views of things too. Just like Dak and his Wayne hatred, where I was like, I'd never thought about it from that perspective before, but Dak makes good points.
Yeah,
all look at me ruining characters.
Look at us hating on things people love. But, you know, there's things we love too, guys. There's things we love too.
Here's another. This is a good one for this point in time. It's titled "When the Appropriate Episodes Come Up," and this is from Vernon. Hello, Sanderlanche crew. I sent my first email a few weeks ago. I figured I would also clear up some confusion with that email. At the time, I had been reading Well of Ascension for about a month already. Oh, this is the person who like finished Well of Ascension in a week after a challenge from their wife. And then we were like, wait, did he read it all in that time or did he just finish it? So here's he'd been reading Well of Ascension for a month already, so my wife dared me to finish the book by the end of that week to give me motivation. In that time, since then, I've caught up to The Way of Kings, chapter 12 and 13. I saw you guys were starting Tress and thought of a few things I wanted to bring up from all the way back from The Lost Metal and Warbreaker. In one episode of The Lost Metal, you were all talking about Hoyd and his other appearances in the Cosmere, and Joe made a comment that maybe he isn't in Tress at all. I don't think Joe could have been more wrong. Another comment was made about common names. I forget what name Joe had said, but Data corrected him and said the most common name was Doug. When I heard these both, I had already read Tress, so they were very funny to me. There's another. No, I don't remember when these things happened, but there's another example of me throwing stuff out that's like, the audience will get this.
Most common name is Doug. Ha ha ha. Now I get it. And I don't know how to feel about it.
And then I gotta Vernon also sent a meme about flatulent pancakes that he found. So okay. I will share that with you guys in our chat here. 1 second.
Flatulent pancakes.
Yeah. You know, the flatulent pancake planet that Hoyd visited.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Oh man, our our stands of Brandon Sanderson now considered Doug's. Is that what that meme is
on some level? Maybe, yeah.
God, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of planets here that we have not seen or heard of.
Yeah, we've heard of a lot of these, but some of them, yeah.
By name?
Haven't. I like the one that says Aether Homeworld. Like, yeah, okay, that's not even a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard of. I mean, Scadrial, Roshar, Ashen, and Braze, and Nalthus, and Sel, and Taldane. We know those.
Like
First of the Sun.
After First of the Sun is where it starts going. Yeah, Threnity's there. We've heard of Threnity, but Biendel, Lumar,
Yeah,
Mythos.
Lumar is actually Tress's world.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Makes sense.
This-
There's a lot of moons.
Mythos.
Yolen. We've heard of Yolen.
Have we? Where have we heard of Yolen?
We've heard it referenced a couple of times as like I think one of the things was when Ruin and Preservation created the planet Scadrial, they based the humans on the ones that they'd seen on Yolen. I think it was one of the times that was mentioned. Also, Vax was mentioned one time. We did not know that it was a planet, but like when Addy is about to he's not Ruin anymore. He appears. He looks around and he goes like Vax, and then he dies.
Oh, we thought that was
A
person.
Yeah.
Okay. Utol.
But yeah, Utol. I don't even remember what that is. I'll have to look that up.
Okay. So I assume that these, like, at least some of these will have to come up in what are the other, like, the non-Emberdark other Yuumi and the Nightmare Painter and some.
Yuumi and the Nightmare Painter. That's a good one. Yeah.
I assume some of those will come up in those, but
Obradai we have heard of. I had to look that up. I was like, I the name rings a bell. I know that I've seen it. I don't know where. It was in the letter that was in one of the letters that we saw in the epigraphs. We figured out that it must have been from Autonomy. And she says, "You should not return to Obradai. We have claimed that world, and a new avatar of our being is beginning to manifest there. And it has been instilled with a hatred of you or something like that."
That's right.
Yeah. So don't go there, jerk.
So yeah, we've heard of several of these, and
wait, what was White Sand Planet again? Was that on?
That's Taldane.
Taldane, that's right.
Yeah,
because that was also an Autonomy world.
It is.
Tress.
Yeah. Possibly the home world of Autonomy. Oh yeah, that was the end of the email. Except that there's a 5-star Spotify review attached from Vernon.
Vernon, you slid right in here, buddy. You're a slider.
All right, we have a whole bunch left. Let me try to do at least a couple more short ones here before we wrap up. This one is from Naz. No, I'm sorry. This one is from Nafez. Nafez? Nafez. I'm not sure how you would say that. And it is titled Request. Hi, Sanderlanche crew. I hope you're doing well. Is it possible to have an episode before the next book with a recap of the story so far? I'm reading and catching up after taking a couple months break, but I can't remember some minute and important details from the previous books. So it's not too much to ask. Can you guys recap the main storylines and developments, especially the main characters that move between books and worlds to Roshar, for example? So when we start book 4 of the Stormlight Archive, everyone will be on the same page, readers and listeners. Thanks again for the episodes. From Nafes. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that Data would kind of have to take in hand and guide us through again, because I'm not sure. I think we'd kind of be all over the place unless it was like kind of laid out.
Now, we did talk about at one point to help you guys, and for because people have asked for that sort of thing, is to let you guys do videos where you recap what happened in books that we've already read and put that on like YouTube or whatever. So, because there's people out there looking for these recap things before new books come out. And I thought it would be a cool thing for our YouTube channel, but also a cool thing to let you guys go back and remember what happened in some of these books. I don't know that, because, okay, even if I'm just looking at the first 3 Stormlight books we've read, there is a lot of content there. And he even mentions like minute details. And I'm like, to cover all the minute details, like that's a whole lot.
See our earlier podcast.
Yeah. You want to cover the minute details? Go back and listen again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that we could think about doing something like that. I don't know exactly how it would look.
I wouldn't object to doing a recap or something, but we're gonna, especially for Stormlight, we're gonna miss details.
A lot. Yeah. You can't not.
There's just because there's so many.
Yeah, there is so much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll think about that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to approach it really, without it being extremely dull for a lot of the people listening. Quite honestly,
right?
Because I can sit here and talk about what happened in these books all day, and retell the story for you, but I don't know that anyone is going to want to listen to that all day, and it's not very interactive with the other people on the show.
Yeah,
we could have I could write a fun quiz and we could go over the details of the previous books in like game show format That might be slightly more fun. I don't know that wouldn't really hit on the details as much though. So I don't know.
That's not a bad
It's something-
idea though. Do you have like a quiz show about like previous stuff?
Yeah, something to think about. All right, let's do one more email. This one is from Sasha, and it says TOTES and TLM. Wait, what's TOTES?
Totes.
Oh, Tress of the Emerald Sea is TOTES. Okay, it took me a minute. Like, what? I know she's talking about one of these books. Which one is it?
Dak, did you say? Hold on, Dak, did you say totes?
That's what it spells.
that is what it spells. He's right. Yeah.
No, you're not. You're not wrong. You're just funny.
Sasha says, one of the fun things about Tress coming out just a few months after The Lost Metal was realizing all the little call forwards that Brandon sprinkled into The Lost Metal. Not even counting plot relevant details like the Rosite Aethers. There's moments like Melon randomly name dropping Ulam, or Wayne's childhood friend being named Doug, D-U-G. You can tell Brandon was enjoying himself.
Oh,
I don't think we realized the Ulam thing.
I told you guys that we'd heard Ulam's name before, and even read the section from The Lost Metal that we heard.
I remember.
Okay.
I remember you mentioned that one. I think that was an episode Joe wasn't here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, Data. Thanks for
I'd
making me feel
forgotten.
stupid.
I'd forgotten the thing about Doug in The Lost Metal. That's fun.
So had I.
Yeah. Wait, what's the Doug reference again? I know you just said it, but
It says Wayne's childhood friend is named Doug, D-U-G.
Because again, that just sounds like the sort of thing Wayne would just make up on the fly.
Yeah, right? And then it's signed Sasha, in parentheses, from the Discord, in parentheses again, but sent us an email, in parentheses a third time, because why not? I felt like it. And then, P.S., have I got a spore-emitting volcano theory for you? What if Ulam isn't actually a Khandra? He's a lost Igor from Discworld. Yes or yes? Have you guys read much Discworld?
That's where I
No.
take my nerd card and say no, I haven't.
I'd always heard how amazing it was. And then I read the first book, The Color of Magic, I think is what it's called. And I did not enjoy it, so I did not continue. I will say, though, that I watched the TV show that's based on Discworld covers a lot of different groups and stuff. There was an early 2020s show called The Watch, based on some characters from a few of the Discworld novels. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that a lot, and I thought about going back and reading the Discworld books that specifically deal with these characters. But yeah, the first book, I people always tell you, this happened to me a lot. I read the first book of a series, I'm like, I didn't like it, I didn't stick with it the rest of the series. And everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, the first book's not good, you got to read like the second one. And then if you don't like the second one, well, the second one's not that good, you got to read the third one, and so on and so forth. And at some point, I'm just like, okay, guys, I get it. You love this series. It's not for me. Same with Dark Tower. I read the first book, and I hated reading that book more than I've hated reading any book, I think, The Gunslinger. So I did not continue. Yeah. But Discworld, I might give some more, because I've also heard that it's not an interconnected story, or at least not as much as some other. It's not like the Dresden Files gets very interconnected as you go. And I've been guilty with that one, where I'm like, the first and second books, they're okay. Not as good as the rest. But and so you could call that the same thing that I was just complaining about. So I get it.
I mean, but you can sort of take that as it comes. Like when I think I was telling you about it, when I first read the Dresden books, like looking back now, yeah, the first book is definitely one of the weakest. But at the time, reading it in a vacuum, I'm just like, this is fucking awesome. I'm going to keep going.
Yes, I enjoyed it enough to keep going, for sure. So, yeah.
I like the first one. It may be a simpler story, but I actually like the first one more than the second one.
I agree. I think the first one's better than the second. The second is just spends a lot of its time sort of rehashing roughly the same plot.
Mm-hmm.
You're not totally wrong. Yeah.
Or at least similar beats.
Similar beats. Yeah.
But as far as Discworld goes, it's like it's one of those. That's one of those ones where, like, there's like fucking 40 of the damn things, and I'm like, everyone hypes them up, and it's like at this point it can't possibly be as good as like everyone hypes it up to be. And also, that's just really daunting to get into a series that fucking big. Like,
yeah, there are 41 main novels, and then additional books of short stories and stuff, bringing it up to 47 Discworld books, is what Google says.
Fuck me. It's like am I? Yeah, that's one of those ones. It's like I've got a passing interest. It's like, oh yeah, I'd like to read that someday, but I'm not feeling motivated to jump into it because I commit time to that, and I don't have time right now.
It's a big commitment, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And so yeah, one of these days I might go back and read one here and there that are supposed to be better than the one I started with. But I've got other books on my TBR, I'm afraid. Okay, we can stop there for now. We still got like 10 emails or something in the box, but we're gonna wrap for today. If you'd like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, where I am still almost done with my reactions to Isles of the Ember Dark for the first time, and I'm like, man, by the time I'm done with this, we'll be getting much closer to the next secret project coming out. Fires of December is not all that far off, at least. Well, that's it's coming out officially in December. I don't remember if we're supposed to get it. I think we're supposed to get it earlier if you're backing the backer kit thing, but that's still a ways off. But yes, so Isles of the Ember Dark, my first reactions are going up, and then I'm going to do the one new novella that was in the book that came out, Tailored Realities, last year. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, check out the Patreon. But remember, we are doing 8 more chapters for next time. That is chapters 44 through 51. So if you're reading along with us, those are the chapters to read for next time. If we're approaching that Sanderlanch territory, things are going to start moving. You know, like I said, we're going to be 77% of the way through at that point. That's often, the last quarter is often when things start really moving. So looking forward to that. 8 chapters for next time. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crab at thee.
Queen of the pirates, she said sail on.